Hi there, this is Niki Rowland, and today I'm designing a layout for the GoGo Getaway Design Team. So today I am revisiting a class that was taught by Lorraine at the recent GoGo Day Away event that was held in Ipswich. In the class, Lorraine stitched an element onto her background and then added mediums around the outside of the shape in order to make it stand out. Now I love this technique because I absolutely love stitching on layouts. Even though it does take quite a bit of time, I totally love the effect. So what I've done is I have used my silhouette machine to perforate holes onto my layout of a rainbow. It's a vertical rainbow, so not the normal style that you would expect, but I've used my silhouette machine to cut the holes for me already. So I've converted a regular cut file to a stitching template. I normally then use my needle to poke holes through poke holes through the holes. It's just to make them stand out a bit more so I can see them in lower lighting. That's purely the only reason. So what I'm doing now is I have already stitched around the top cloud in white thread, and now I'm stitching through for each leg or stem of the rainbow, each colour of the rainbow in a different colour. So I started off with red, now I've moved on to orange, I think I'm about to move on to yellow, I have already moved on to yellow, and I've still got a few colours to go, and in the end I think there's 7 different colours to make up my rainbow. Please just bear with me while I get all of this stitching done. Obviously it is super speeded up and I haven't recorded every stitch because otherwise we'd be here literally all day. But I tend to use embroidery floss for my stitching. I normally split the threads in half, so they're normally 6 threads, and I would normally split that in half, so I've got 3 and 3. And I just use a regular cross stitch needle that I can thread easily and isn't too sharp so that I don't stab myself too often. I'm now onto the final colour, which is the purple. That's the final leg of the rainbow, or stem of the rainbow. I don't know what you would call those, the rays maybe. But yeah, so I'm just going to finish that off, and then my rainbow, my vertical rainbow, will be complete. Okay, so now that my stitching's done, I need a bright edge for the outside. So I've chosen a sheet called, an emoji love sheet actually. So I've taken the middle out, and that's so that my cardstock doesn't, the pattern behind doesn't show through my cardstock. And I can also use it on a different project if I want to, that little bit that I've taken out of the middle too. So now you can see that I have my rainbow background onto a bright frame, which I think it looks really lovely. I've also got some clouds that go within the clouds that I've stitched. They were part of the cut file, so I just cut some of those in different colours and with an outline to make them look even nicer than what the stitched outline does. I was worried that even though I'd got different colour threads, the colours of my rainbow didn't show up well enough. So I've just mixed my watercolour paints with a tiny amount of white gesso to make a slightly thicker paint. I'm colouring in. It also makes the colours a lot lighter using the white paint, but that worked really well for this rainbow because I just needed it to be a hint of the colour in each stem. Yeah, so I've used those to paint within each stem of the rainbow to just make it look brighter and just look much better really. Sorry about the big ray of light coming through. I hadn't noticed when I was actually filming that happened. I do notice in a minute, and I close the curtains so that you don't have that really super bright sunbeam anymore. Sorry about that. I wanted to use a thicker paint rather than runny watercolours, so that I could control where I was placing my colour easier. I also didn't want the water to saturate my threads, and this was the real perfect blend actually, just that little bit of white gesso mixed with the watercolours to give them just that tiny bit of colour, but also that slight thickness that the gesso has rather than just very, very watery colours. So now that all the rays of my rainbow are coloured in, I can now work around the outside of my cloud to give it that little lift to make it really stand out. Obviously it's white thread on a white background, so I wanted it to stand out. And I'm just applying a really small tinge of blue around the edge of that cloud shape there, and it super makes it stand out. It just looks like a small shadow, but yeah, really good. And I going in back now and adding in a little bit more colour closer to the stitching as I can, with a slightly more intense version of the colour I used to make the shadow around the outside. Okay, so that's my background mostly complete. So I've done all my stitching, I've done all my painting, and now I can focus on building the actual layout itself. So I'm just doing a little bit more prep work with those clouds that I cut earlier on my machine, and just getting those stuck in place. And now I'm looking for all things rainbow to go with my rainbow layout. So there's a little rainbow resin charm there from, I believe that might be from Freckled Fawn, and that little vertical rainbow down the bottom there that was donated to me by a scrappy friend. So thank you very much for that. I'm just trying to figure out what photo would go best with this layout. Now I have this photo of my two kiddies in their rain macs all ready to go out to school on a very, very rainy day, so that seemed perfect to go with my rainbow layout. So that photo doesn't need much in the way of layers behind it, because there's so much going on the layout already, and the main focus is on the technique, which is the rainbow in the background. So I'm just yeah, trying to figure out what I can put behind my photo, which there you go, I've done. So some stripy bright paper there, and just got that in place. And now I'm just going to stick down all of my other embellishments. I also got some little tiny rainbow stickers there, which is really cute. I'm now just getting my photos stuck in place. I normally raise my photos on foam pads at the top and stick them flat at the bottom. That's just to give it some dimension. And I've added a flare badge there by Haylett the Magpie. And now I'm adding my title, which I cut on my silhouette machine. And I cut it in a yellow colour, and it's just the most perfect phrase to go with this layout. Without rain, there would be no rainbows. So what a perfect title. So I'm just arranging that, and then I will be sticking it down with wet glue. It's a bit of a labour of love, but it's too tiny to raise up on foam pads, which is what I would normally do. So I'm having to stick it flat, and it takes a little bit of time to get that stuck down. And finally, I'm just going to finish off by adding a few flicks of watercolour paint. I'm using a paintbrush and water just in my watercolour palettes to add some blue flicks around the cloud and some yellow flicks around the title. And that is my layout done. And I absolutely love the result of this stitching and painting technique combined. Thank you so much for watching, That was Nikki Rowland for GoGo Getaway.